In this lab, we're going to use Copilot to create a word cloud. The word cloud is going to tell us students' reflections on what describes their best class. So I did a survey and I said, what gives you your best class? And this is what they came up with. So let's go ahead and upload the data file. And we'll hit, so now it's loaded, and let's go ahead and input that. Then you can see some quick summaries of what you see: personal connection, interactive, hands-on, engaging professors, and so forth. And it asks, how would you like to summarize that? Well, the first thing I'd like to know is, did it read in all the data? So I'm going to ask it to print out the last 5 rows of the file so that they can see. So here you'll be able to see, some details. So their best class was business law. Class was engaging and interesting. Here's the word engaging is again. Very beginner's class was intro to philosophy, and so forth. So we can see the last 5, and so I know it wasn't lazy. It got all of the data. The next thing I'm going to ask it to do is create a bar chart. And oftentimes I can do things like tell it what words to include or not to include. So I say, do not include the word class. Do not include pronouns, conjunctions, prepositions, common stop words. And I want it to be put in a histogram or a bar chart counting, which would be a histogram. And I want it to be displayed and sorted in descending order. So I'm going to hit enter there. Might make this just a little bit smaller so you can see the response. What you're going to see is kind of an overwhelming number of responses in this bar chart, and just because there's a lot of words, and some of them have very small counts, and so you can see all these words down here, and I asked it to put the words, so the count is here at the top, and there's a bunch of 2s and there's a bunch of 1s. Pretty hard to read, if not impossible, right? So that's the bar chart included there. Next thing I'm going to ask you to do is actually provide a similar frequency count, but now I'm going to ask it to do it in terms of a word cloud and based on the frequency of the words. Again, I'm saying do not use the word class or the prepositions, pronouns, and so forth. And the size of the words are going to correspond to the frequency of the word usage. It may do that already. It knows what a word cloud is. But if I specify it directly, it is more likely to provide those the way I want it. So now it's going to produce the word cloud based on that. And so we can see this. It allows us, hey, do you want to download it? Well, I actually like to see it first, right? And so I can see the word that there's that word engaging. It was the professor. I don't know that the word great is very descriptive, the best, but perhaps some medium-sized words like easy, interesting, best, assignments, time, learn, learning, homework, engaging, favorite, etc. Sometimes you may want to eliminate some of these bigger words so we can see the ones that are the next level easier. Okay, and the next thing we want to do is actually ask it to write a memo summarizing the findings. Here's what we found. How do we summarize? And that's one thing that Gen AI is particularly good at is summarizing. And so here we see the various the way it would summarize it in terms of a memo. And so we'll just wait for that momentarily to produce. Okay, and so here we see the production here, and I asked it to download the memo, and it says, hey, you could include a frequency bar chart or a word cloud, but let's see what the memo looks like. And so I'm going to open up this memo and see what it looks like, and it actually looked like a lot of the themes are what it started with when it summarized, but it talks about the word frequency, if we want to insert the bar charts and so forth, sets it up in terms of a lab, a memo to reflect that. And so that's done. And then the last thing I would do is ask it to download the word cloud. Let's see if I can go up here. It gave me the option to download. So here it says download this image, but didn't give me a link for that. So let's go ahead and ask it to do it. We're going to ask it to download the word cloud as a .png file. Usually I ask it to title it a certain way. Copilot is not good yet at calling it exactly. It'll just say generated image. And so not quite exactly what I prefer. I like naming them very specifically because otherwise I have lots of generated images. And let's see if it did it this time, right? It says, okay, here's the name of it. So if I click on it, but it actually just says now it named it as a generated image. So it didn't do it the way I want. Oftentimes I ask it to provide the prompts. So I can follow up. I might want to save that to a Word file, and I would just tell it that. But you can see the prompts we used to complete this word cloud. So that completes this lab.